Look what I just bought. This is a 2000 Honda Cr125. I haven't owned a 2000 Cr125 in a long time. So this popped up on Facebook for 1,500 bucks. The guy said it has an absolutely horrible bog. It only goes about 10 miles an hour with this bog. That's how bad it is. He said he's a car guy, he got this on trade, and didn't even look into the problem. He doesn't know what's wrong with it. And I guess the previous owner used to ride it like this, being boggy. So that's why he was trading it. And I guess nobody could figure out the bogging problem. So I'm guessing it's had it for a long time. But the rest of the bike isn't too bad. I offered 1,300 bucks when I got there, and he accepted. So I did get this thing for a pretty good deal. You can see it is a 2000 up there on the frame. It's a pretty good year of the Honda Cr125 with the aluminum frame. The front tire goes flat. The rear tire is basically bald. You can see somebody went mudding with it recently. It's just caked full. And you can see some oil mixing with the dirt here on the swing arm. It looks like the pipe was leaking, where the silencer fits into the pipe. But you can see the tires are dry rotted too. Plastics aren't too bad. The seat cover's nice. It's registered in 2016, so I'm guessing that's the last time this thing actually ran decent. But engine looks pretty tight. I don't see any leaking from the engine at all. A couple dents in the pipe. So overall, not a bad bike for $1,300. I think the first thing we're going to do is pressure wash it, see what it looks like underneath all this dirt, and then try to fix this thing up. Get rid of that bog and take it for the first ride. That's the goal. We'll walk around here. A little close up of the engine. Looks like it does have the original carb, original carb on there, so that's good. Clutch looks like that's working. Got the on-off switch. Brake feels like that's working. Rear brake works. See what compression feels like here. Doesn't feel bad. Alright, she's all cleaned up. Let's see if she fires up here. It started first kick when I was at the guy's house. that's smoking a ton. Looks like white smoke too. Wasn't clearing out, super boggy. That was full throttle I was doing. It was just puffing out a ton of white smoke. So it doesn't smell like transmission oil at all. So I don't know if there's water in the gas or what. But yeah, it's really, really boggy and really, really smoky. So we're gonna attempt to take it for a ride. See how that goes. Alright, yeah, it's bogging really, really bad. You could hear it in the video. It's not too good. Breaks up, bogs, probably doesn't go over 10 to 50 miles an hour. I was going pretty much full throttle the whole time, and it's really, really boggy. So it's blowing a ton of white smoke out the back. It almost seems like it's burning water. I don't smell any oil burning. So if the crank seal would have gone on this bike, the crank seal is right here, going into the crankcase, you'd be able to smell burning transmission oil. So the oil in here seeps into the seal that's bad or blown out and goes into the crankcase and burns off. So that's a pretty distinct smell. It's a lot different than the two-stroke oil you smell. The two-stroke oil kind of smells good. The transmission oil would smell pretty bad, but I'm not going to rule it out completely. So it definitely still could be that. And I'm curious to see what this oil looks like in here, and if there's enough in here. It only takes 650 milliliters, so there's not a whole lot in there. Is it milky? So far, no. Alright, let's see what this looks like. The clutch was working really good, at least. Brakes were working. It's just really, really boggy. No, it's not milky. Doesn't smell like gas. Actually, doesn't look that bad. Put that back on. There is a check bolt right down here. Yeah, that's stripped. Fun times. There we go. Let's see if any oil comes out. Oh yeah. Alright. So oil is at the right amount. All right, let's check out the flow from the petcock here. Water in the gas. All right, let's see if it flows good. Flowing really good. Looks like there's oil in the gas. Let's see here. Is there water in it though? We're gonna let that sit for a little bit and just see if that separates. So far it's looking like there's no water in it. Yeah, it does not look like there's water in the gas at all. Alright, there's an air filter in it. Alright, so air filter looks good in there, all oiled up. So that wasn't the problem. We're just going to take this air filter out, see if there's anything plugging up the air intake here. That looks good. So air filter is definitely not the problem. Not a whole lot of gas in there. So plug boot is right here. We'll check for spark. It looks like a new spark plug in there. BR8ES. Looking for any leaking around the head. I don't see anything. That all looks good. Alright, well, let's see. The coil's grounded to the frame. Ah, but look at that. That's not grounded. That is interesting. That's somewhat grounded, but it's missing the bolt right there for the coil. That is a ground wire right there. And I don't think that's, yeah, that's not even hitting the frame at all. See that? It's really loose on there. So that's a potential problem right there. We'll check the spark and see what that looks like. Yeah, it's super white. So it's running really lean. Look at that. Huh. There's no black on that at all. So either that was getting washed out by coolant, or it wasn't getting enough gas. Here we go. Probably turn it on. Great spark. Oh, but look at that. Look at this up here, where that ground wire is. Check this out. I thought I saw sparking from there. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. That ground wire that's not attached is sparking. I think that was part of the problem right there. So that coil wasn't attached properly. Let's get that hook back up and see if that still sparks. Alright, so that hole where that bolt goes for the coil, It's actually stripped out. So what we did was put a bolt through with a nut on the back and tighten that down. So now, let's see if that still sparks. Hopefully we got rid of that sparking issue. Yeah. Let's see if the plug sparks here. Perfect. So that was one problem. Alright, we've got the spark plug in the tester here. Turn it on. And now we're checking out the spark here at different RPMs. So we're gonna go up to 3,000 here. There's 3,000. There's 5,500. We're gonna go all the way up to 9,000 RPM. Let that sit for a bit. That's nice blue consistent spark. So our spark plug checks out. That looks really good. So it was not the spark plug. All right, next is compression. So at the 125s, typically you want to see over 140 PSI. Right around 160 is like a fresh rebuild. So anywhere between 140, 160 is pretty decent for these bikes. Kicking it over, it feels pretty good. So I'm hoping we get a pretty good reading here. Let's see. Let's see if I can put it right through there. All right. And we're gonna do throttle open. We're hoping for right around in this range. Hopefully. It's not horrible. 145. A little bit higher. 147. This is pretty good. Definitely not a fresh rebuild on there, but I'll take it. Better than like 120. Alright, so far we have good compression. We have good spark. Next is fuel. So carburetor on here is a Mikuni carb. We'll have to measure the size of that thing. See if that's the stock one on there. To get that out, it looks like the easiest way is probably to take the subframe and swing that up. Now we should be able to get that carb out of there. But the white smoke that was puffing out has me a little bit concerned. But that definitely could be the gas that was in there. Alright, can this come out through here? Might have to take off that guy. Missing the case saver. I don't know. That's tight. There we go. Kind of looked like that was melted. I thought maybe that was plugged up. Let's see if this one is. Nope, those are both clear. Alright, is the slide in the right way? Yep. The cutout notch part is going to be facing towards you, towards the intake, not towards the engine. Sometimes the needle can have a lot of slop and cause bogging problems. So let's see if that needle's nice and tight on here. nice and tight. Put this back in here. All right, carb is out. Let's see if there's any water in that carb. I have a feeling this thing is burning off some water. All right, we're gonna drain out the gas into this cup and we'll see what's going on. See if there's any water in there. Kind of hard to tell. You can see it's separating a little bit. See, there's a darker color on top and lighter on bottom. There might be a little water in there. We can look for water droplets too in the carb, so we can open this up. I'll show you guys what that looks like. Pretty clean. Really clean there. Float height looks pretty much correct. The line on the float level with the surface here at a 45-degree angle. Running a 360 main. Let's get that out of there. That's clear, very clear. So far carb's looking really good. See if the pilot's clogged. This bike idled and starts up right away, so I don't think the pilot would be clogged. Nope, pilot's open. We're running a 50 pilot, so that was clear. Get our float out of here. Float looks good. Needle looks good. So you can see that tip's nice and soft. Let's see what this O-ring looks like in here. Pull that out with a needle nose. O-ring looks good. Well. Alright, let's see what the air screw is at. It's right down here. So well, that was only half a turn out. That should be 1.5. So that definitely was not at the right setting. The choke seemed to be working, so we'll see if that's correct. Yep, looks really good. Yep, that's working. So we are going to look up the stock carb for this thing. Hopefully this is the stock carb that was on there. But yeah, everything looks good. Alright, I think we found our problem. I let this gas sit for a little bit. And check out that separation here at the bottom. There's definitely water in that gas. It's kind of hard to tell, but I could see like little droplets of water floating by. Oh, here we go. Here's a better separation. See, when you tip it to the side like that, see how it's clear right there? Look at that bubble. See that? That clear? That's a big water bubble. Look at that. So water was definitely in the gas. Huh. That's crazy. The white smoke was water burning off. The bogging issue, I'm guessing, was the coil. All right, so it looks like this is the stock carb with the stock jetting. So we can put everything back together. We'll quick blow it out with the air compressor, but I don't think the carb was the problem at all. All right, next we can take out these reeds, check those. See if those are okay. Let's get this off. We can check out that manifold for cracks. This is a 24-year-old bike, so lots of stuff could be wrong with it. One more. All right, let's take a peek here. All right, gasket looks pretty decent yet. Got the carbon fiber reeds. Don't look too bad. All right, so those I'll check out. Those aren't horrible. See if I can see any water droplets on them. Yeah, those aren't too bad. Let's check out the boot here. No cracks. That looks really good too. So that definitely checks out. We are going to turn the engine over. See if we can see the backside of the piston through here. Looks pretty good. Alright, so far everything's checking out. Only thing wrong with it so far was the coil. The ground wire was not connected. And the water and the gas in the carb. So on this side, usually a sign of a blown crank seal. It's going to be oil seeping out of here. Oh, there's water in here. Lots of water. That's not good. So that seal obviously was not working. Right here on that cover. Doesn't look like any oil seeping down here. It's just all water. Might leave that one out. I see something right in here. It's like a little piece of wire that was stuck in there. Let's see. So that's wired together there. Oh, that's not even on. Well, that would be one of the culprits. Look at that is supposed to be on that pin. All right, and then down here, there's like a little piece of wire sticking out. Let me see if I can get that. Oh yeah, what the, that is not good at all. Look what we found in here. This is not good. What is that? A piston clip to hold the piston on. Uh-oh. Where did that come from? How was that in there? I wonder if maybe this thing was recently rebuilt. You can see the green gaskets. And they dropped that in there when taking off the old piston. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping the piston on here has one of these clips in there. Oh, what the heck? That is crazy. So hopefully they didn't forget to put those back on, but that could definitely be the case. So this rod has to come down. Can this go up? Nope. So how did that even get behind there? That's crazy. Nut washer. Alright. I think it's stuck on there pretty good. There we go. I don't know if I can get that back in. Oh, that's the problem. Shoot. There we go. Let me see if it's even working in here. Oh yeah. So, closed, open, closed, open. Seems to be working. I think I can adjust it too. But this is supposed to be on here like that. And that moves it up and down. So that was not even on there. Yeah, a little pin. So maybe they used that little clip as a pin. They may have put that in there to use as a clip or a pin to hold that on. That's definitely a possibility too, but we'll put the right cotter pin in there. All right, got the little clip in there. That's looking good. Now that rod should move that and activate those power valves. Let's do a leak down test on this thing. And we're gonna try to find out if those crank seals are leaking. Oh yeah. See what size this is. I think that should be the correct size. Put that one on off of here. Go. Getting that back up. Alright, now we're going to put about 5 psi in here and we're going to see if this leaks out. And we'll be spraying soapy water around all the potential leaks. So there could be a leak at the manifold here between the gaskets. There could be a leak at the crank seal here. And you'd be able to spray and bubbles would form. There could be a leak around the head. And there could be a leak on the other side of the case where the other crank seal is. All right, let's see what we get. It's leaking out right away. I hear it leaking from somewhere. Alright, no bubbles from the head gasket area, power valve area, exhaust over here, nothing. No bubbles from the coolant, so head gasket isn't blowing. I'm not feeling any air from here either. Alright, I took that cover off. That's where that leak was. Okay. So the last CR250 I had also was leaking at the power valves there, and it didn't cause any issues. So hopefully it's the same with this one. You can see it was coming through that seal, it looked like right there. So I'm hoping that's just a common leak. The main thing I was worried about were the crank seals. So this crank seal seemed pretty tight. No air was coming out of this case. And then the left side crank seal was good too. No bubbles forming at the seal over here. So I believe these two seals, the crank seals, are fine. All right, let's get this oil drained out, see what that looks like. No chunks so far. That's looking good. All right, no chunks, look pretty good. So let's get some fresh oil in there now. All right, this takes 650 milliliters of oil. You can see down here, we're using 10W40 wet clutch oil. Let's dump that in. Alright, the silencer was extremely loud when we were riding this thing, so let's try to see what's going on with that. I'm guessing it doesn't have any packing in here. We'll find out right now. You can hear something rattling around. Alright, let's see. There's no way this is still together. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, that packing is junk. Cage is still good, surprisingly. A couple bolts in there, rattling around. Well, let's see, we'll probably cut it this way. Right there. Alright. There. So this thing's all back together. We found a couple problems with it that hopefully solve our bogging issue. So the first one we found was the coil not grounding out properly. So that was probably one of the main problems. The second one we found was the water in the carburetor. So I'm guessing water was in the gas somehow, some way. Not sure how, but there was water in there. I'm guessing that's why it was blowing white smoke out the exhaust. And then the third problem was the power valve rod was not connected. So there's no way those power valves were opening. This is probably a combination of all three causing the bogging. But we're gonna add some fresh fuel, 40 to 1. Alright, seems like it's running pretty good. It's idling really high. Let's get that idle down. Alright, there we go. Idling nice and low. Now we're seeing blue smoke. Alright, so no longer white smoke. It is blue smoke, so we know it's burning off the oil in the gas tank. Two-stroke oil, not any water or anything. So that's good, that looks normal. It was a little boggy on top end. We'll see if that goes away when it's warmed up. Might have to adjust the carb a little bit. But we'll see if that power valve is working too. So it's still boggy. like all the way up until full throttle, and then it starts clearing out. In first gear, it's really bad. You can hear it go, and all of a sudden it takes off. And then second, third, fourth, fifth gear are all good once you get it up into the RPMs. So I'm thinking the power valves are not working properly. Oh yeah, it's turning brown. That looks good. So we're definitely getting enough gas to it. It's nice and brown actually. It's almost on the verge of being rich. That's what that plug's supposed to look like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So right now, the only problem we're having is that it lags and then hits the power band. So power band is coming on late, which is not easy to ride like that. So it lacks power down low, and then it gains power as you rev it out completely. Around there. I wonder if that was part of the problem. See, they're sticking open. Huh. See that? They're almost like open all the way right there. Alright, it's working. It's just not going back down all the way. It should be going back down to there. So right now, all the way down is right there, and this rod doesn't want to come up far enough to latch onto there. So I'm wondering if we can make an adjustment somewhere on here so that this part can be further down. I don't know. That looks like a 1 unit piece here. I don't think that's separate from there. Oh, it is, isn't it? So that needs to be like down there. And it's way up there. So I'm pretty sure this arm is like 1 tooth off on the governor down below. And that's why we have no low end power, is because the power valves are stuck open a little bit. And like quite a bit. I mean, it's supposed to be on that pin. It's supposed to be resting on this pin. They're quite a bit open. Fully open would be, let's see. Oh, they're almost fully open. They're like right there. And that's fully open. That looks like just water. So it's good to change that anyway. So I'm guessing what happened was this thing was rebuilt and the guy put the side cover back together incorrectly. So hopefully this will fix our problem. Pull that all the way back like that. Try not to rip the gasket here. I'm sure that's going to be impossible. Shoot. So we're thinking that was sitting too low. So that needs to come up and ride on here. Grooves that these teeth ride into. And moves that rod up and down. So we need to extend that rod up further and install it like that. Alright, so that's what that rod's supposed to look like right there. Our valves are completely closed. So that's what that's supposed to look like. So we're gonna take this back off, get gasket maker around here, put it back on. Alright, while we're in here, just checking everything over. Clutch basket looks good. No grooves in there. Crank gear is on there tight. Bearings feel good. Everything else looks good. We got the cover back on. Here's the rod now, so actually push that down just a little bit. And it's perfect now. There we go. Alright, that seems to be working a lot better. We'll see. We'll start this thing up. Alright, that seems to be working a lot better. Alright, made it up to the land. Let's give this thing a test drive. So hopefully fixing the power valve linkage solved our bogging problem in low end. fixing up that power valve linkage rod really helped a lot. The bogging is basically gone. I actually was out there and we ran out of gas testing it, but the last test I did was I turned the air screw out one more turn, and that got rid of the bogging on the low end completely. So now it's just very crispy throughout the whole throttle, going from low end to mid range. And yeah, it sounds really good. So right now we're 3 turns out on the Pilot, which tells me that the Pilot is too big. So we're gonna have to come down on the Pilot size a little bit. We're really only supposed to turn this thing out 1.5 turns. So Pilot's big, and I think the needle position, the clip, is probably 1 clip off. It broke up maybe 2 times in mid-range on deceleration. So I'm thinking it's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit rich on the needle, but I mean, it's not a big deal. I could barely notice it. But we will adjust that off camera and try to fix that up. But yeah, this bike has come a long way since we picked it up. On top end, this thing just screams crazy fast, and it's running great on the top end. Low end is now good, and then mid-range, like I said, just had that one little break up there, and that could have been because we were running out of gas. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely come a long way. Fixing up the coil ground wire helped. The water out of the gas helped. We were burning a ton of water. Beginning of the video, you could see all the white smoke burning off. Obviously, attaching the power valve linkage back onto the power valves helped. They weren't opening at all in the beginning of the video, and now they are. And then finally, setting the power valves correctly helped a ton. They were stuck open a little bit when we reattached that rod, and now they're perfectly closed and they open perfect every time we hit the throttle. So that linkage helped a lot as well. The last thing we're gonna do is just adjust that needle, and I think that will take care of our problem. But leave your suggestions down below. What do you guys think we should do for jetting? You think it needs a smaller Pilot? And do you think it needs a needle adjustment? Let me know in the comments. I think with those 2 things, this bike will be running perfect. Top end is perfect, so I know that that main jet has to be perfect. It just screams on the top end. Very, very fast bike for a 125. So yeah, this one is almost done. There's a couple tweaks and we'll have it. The front tire seems like it's not really holding air, so that needs a new tube. And the levers right here are really bent. We're gonna get some new levers for it. And this bike should be good to go. All the brakes work, shocks feel good, suspension feels good, air filter was good. We've got brand new coolant and oil in here. So everything else is good to go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed picking this bike up for 1,300 bucks, tearing it down, diagnosing it, and then taking it for the first ride. So stay tuned for next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And until next time, we are out.